Hi, Walter. Good evening.
Good evening, teacher. How are you? How is it going?
I'm doing fine. I was
Great.
just for you guys. Thank you. What about you? How's everything going?
I'm doing fine, teacher. Everything's okay.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. What about your brother?
My brother, I don't know about him. He doesn't live with me. I think you already know that.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you guys lived together.
No, I'm living in La Paz for the study for the university, and he's he's ending the school.
Yeah, I
And
didn't.
same. So yeah, we live in different departments. I
Okay.
guess well, I think he's gonna enter in few minutes. He must be in, the last year of school stuff.
Yes, it is. It is a
His,
little
his,
tough,
his graduation is in
especially around.
1 month.
Oh yeah, right. It's finishing the year
There's no time left.
already. So yeah, he must be with a lot of projects and finals, exams.
Yes, final tests, final projects, and okay. Time flies, teacher.
Yes, I honestly can't believe that we are already entering November. I think it seems like yesterday that we were celebrating New Year's Eve. And now the year is gone, just like that.
Yes.
Okay, Walter. So today what we're going to be doing is practicing the speaking section. So we're going to be practicing the last three questions of the speaking section. Question 2, 3, 4, and 2, 3, and 4. All of the interview questions that we've been seeing these last few days. Starting with question 2, do you have your templates ready for all of the questions?
The template for question 2 right now. Let me check, please. What was about the second question?
Yeah, it was the one where you have to read an announcement, a university announcement, and then listen to a conversation between two students about the announcement, and then summarize the conversation made.
Yes, I think I found it. This about the student in a conversation who supports or maybe is against some idea, right?
Exactly.
Then the student explains and give him or her point of view.
Exactly, it provides two reasons explaining his or her.
Right.
Right. So in that case, let's start. We're going to be working on this question here first. All right. So starting now, you will have 45 seconds to read the text.
Okay, well, 1 second, please.
Yes, sure.
Okay, let's start. Teacher, one question before. In this question, is where we have to write the title of the topic.
No.
Yes.
You have to copy or write down the change, not the title. Sometimes the title like relates to the change, but it's not necessarily the way it's in the title. You have to look for the change.
Okay. Okay.
So starting now, you'll have 45 seconds to read the announcement.
Now listen to two students discussing the article.
I just don't think this will work.
Why not?
Because it's not going to solve the problem. Students are busy at night. I mean, we have jobs, families, clubs, social events. Most of us already have something to do every single night of the week.
I see your point. I sure couldn't fit anything into my schedule during the week. I've got swimming practice most nights.
Right. And as far as expense goes, I think they're going about it the wrong way. I mean, it costs money to hire more teachers and keep the academic building open later, which is a lot more expensive than just simply buying more computers.
More computers?
That's right. Computer prices have come way down the past few years, so the department won't have to spend as much now as they did in the past. Besides, the computer department classrooms, the rooms themselves, they're actually very big. There's plenty of space to add more computers.
The computer department is considering a scheduling change. Explain the man's opinion of the change and the reasons he gives for holding that opinion. You will have 30 seconds to prepare your response. Okay. Oh, please, you may start speaking now.
Okay. The student in the conversation is against the idea of adding computer classes in the evening fall. First of all, he explains that almost every students are really busy at night during the whole week. And in addition, he believes that it's really expensive to hire teachers and buy the computers and all the equipment that is necessary to go with these classes, with these new classes. That's what the student thinks about and why he is against the idea of the scheduling change. I think that was really simple, teacher, but that's why I could write down and hear.
It was a little simple, but I'd say it was good, and it was accurate. The information that you presented was complete, it was accurate. Remember that you don't have to just rely on your notes. You also rely on, let's say, what you remember and the way that it was explained. Maybe what I would suggest, I mean, first of all, in terms of content, everything was correct. You have the correct, you mentioned the student's opinion correctly. You mentioned the two reasons as well. So the first one is that students don't have time at night. They are busy, so they won't be able to enroll in these classes. And the second, that it is expensive to hire, or it's inefficient to hire new professors, right? But maybe in that part you got it a little bit wrong, because you said that it's expensive to buy more computers. But actually what the student says is that instead of hiring a new professor to teach another parallel class, what they could do is just buy more computers and add more computers in the same class so that they can hold more students. So maybe that tiny detail in terms of information. And everything else was fine. What I would suggest, if you want to like improve a little bit in terms of its complexity, perhaps try to join the ideas that you had from the student with the ones from the reading. So remember, you don't necessarily have to take notes, but if you have some time and you can try to remember the reasons that are given by the university, that would be great, because that way you can show a better contrast. For example, in this case, the first reason, according to the university, is that it says that there are a lot of students, right? It has become increasingly overcrowded and there are no longer enough computers available. So you could say, first of all, the student explains that even though it is true that this class is overcrowded and there are no computers available, adding an evening class is not going to be efficient because the students are busy at night. They have other activities. Maybe you can mention a few details, because I think maybe one student says that she has like music activities, or I don't know what. Mention those details, and same thing in the other case, right? So you could say, in addition, the student believes that it isn't true that this is the most cost-effective way of addressing this problem, since it would be better to just buy more computers rather than hiring a new professor, which is way more expensive. Right, so maybe you can try to use the information from the reading as well. And then everything else was good, to be honest. I just say, use a little bit of the information from the reading and it will be great.
Yes, thank you. First of all, that's what I understood about in the listening about the computers and the teachers. And I'm still having the problem with my timing of the reading. 45 seconds looks really
It is, I know, but
few
it's practice.
seconds to me, but okay. I'll practice, and I'm trying to write down the most important things, and then I only have like 10 seconds left to read a half of this paragraph. So okay, I try to improve that.
Okay, yeah, it's just practicing, I guess. I know it's difficult. It's a little tough to get everything done in those 45 seconds, but it's getting used to it. Sometimes it's just practicing a little.
Yes. Okay.
Let's do another one. In this case, we're going to be seeing this one. All right. So you'll have 45 seconds to read the text.
Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
I totally disagree with Tim's proposal.
Why?
Well, look, Tim's my friend, but he's not your typical student. He stays up late partying every night, weeknights too.
If he parties every night, no wonder he can't pay attention.
Yes, and most students aren't like that. They come to class prepared and rested, and they can concentrate.
So you're saying the problem is really Tim?
Yes, he was in one of my classes last year, and whenever I looked at him, he was actually sleeping.
I guess if he's sleeping, he can't really know what's happening, what other people in class are doing.
Right. And you want to know what does happen in that last hour of seminar? In a lot of seminars that I've been in, that's when things get interesting.
Really?
Yes, that's usually when students get really involved in the discussion and start exchanging important ideas. And if the history department actually did what Tim suggests, well, if they did that, what would happen is you'd lose what might be the most worthwhile part of a seminar.
Excuse me, teacher. What speaking task is this? The number
Number
two.
two.
Oh, also number 2.
Yes, also number two. Same thing. Okay. The question says, the woman expressed her opinion about so that her friend Tim made in his letter to the newspaper. State her opinion about his proposal and explain the reasons she gives for her opinion. Now I have 30 seconds.
Teacher, one question. The letter in the newspaper was that paragraph, that reading about the history seminars that should be shorter,
Exactly.
right? Okay.
Yeah, that was the letter. Remember that the text that you read can be two things. It can be an announcement from the university itself. So it's an official announcement from the university administrators and be like, we have decided to shorten the history seminar. It could be an announcement, or in the other scenario, it could be a proposal from a student in the university. So it's like one student of this university is suggesting that the university shortens the history seminar. It's not an official announcement, but it's still an idea for a change. Every student gives 2 reasons. So even though it's a little bit different, everything remains the same. You know, you still have to use the same template, the student in the conversation, support who is against the idea of shortening the seminar, and explain the reasons the student gives. Okay.
Okay, perfect. I couldn't listen this time, but I think she's agreed, right?
No, she disagrees. You want to listen?
Oh my God.
Did you get to read the text?
Yeah, I could read.
Okay. So do you want me to play it again?
Yes, that would be cheat on this task, but okay.
But we're practicing now, right? We're practicing, and it's important that you understand the content. Because if
Thank you
not,
so much.
it's possible without you. Okay, let's hear it.
Now listen to two students discussing the letter.
I totally disagree with Tim's proposal.
Why?
Well, look, Tim's my friend, but he's not your typical student. He stays up late partying every night, weeknights too.
If he parties every night, no wonder he can't pay attention.
Yes, and most students aren't like that. They come to class prepared and rested, and they can concentrate.
So you're saying the problem is really Tim?
Yes, he was in one of my classes last year, and whenever I looked at him, he was actually sleeping.
I guess if he's sleeping, he can't really know what's happening, what other people in class are doing.
Right. And you want to know what does happen in that last hour of seminar? In a lot of seminars that I've been in, that's when things get interesting.
Really?
Yes, that's usually when students get really involved in the discussion and start exchanging important ideas. And if the history department actually did what Tim suggests, well, if they did that, what would happen is you'd lose what might be the most worthwhile part of a seminar.
Right, so the woman expresses her opinion about the proposal of her friend Tim made in his letter to the newspaper, state her opinion about his proposal, and explain the reasons she gives for her opinion. Now I have 30 seconds to prepare your response. Okay. So please, you can start speaking now.
Okay, the student in the conversation is against the idea of her friend of making shorter the history seminars. First of all, she explains that last year when both shared a class, a 3-hour long class, and her friend just fall asleep. And in addition, she believes that people really find interesting the last hour in these seminars, the third hour. That can be really productive for them. That's what the student thinks. That's why the student is against the idea of making shorter the seminars to 2 hours long, from 3 to 2.
Okay. So yes, good. All right, the information was correct, but I think it could have been better expressed. You know, for example, in the first case, you went for the details. So last year they shared a class, and the student team, the one that wrote the letter, stayed up partying, and so he fell asleep in the class. But the main point really, even though that's correct, the main point is that most students go to class prepared, right? And they don't fall asleep, they don't get bored, they can concentrate just fine because most students in general, they go to class prepared and well rested, so they can concentrate just fine during the 3 hours. It is just Tim that can concentrate because he stays up late, partying and stuff. But the most important part is that students can concentrate just fine, you know, during those 3 hours. And in the second, what you said is true. It is in that last hour of the seminar is interesting for many students because that's the hour when they start debating and exchanging ideas and stuff like that, and asking questions. So yes, maybe careful there. Remember that if you're able to identify the reasons here, what you will have in the listening is always going to be related to what you had here. So for example, the first reason here is that most students cannot concentrate for 3 hours straight. And the reason that a student gives is the exact opposite. The students can concentrate just fine. The second one as well, right? The last hour of the seminar is basically a waste of everyone's time. It is not a waste of everyone's time because it's an hour where they start exchanging ideas. So I would recommend maybe that you practice reading a little bit faster, so that way you will understand the listening better. But other than that, your grammar is good, your delivery is actually great, you have a great pronunciation, intonation, you're using the template correctly, you're not wasting your time in long introductions, you're managing your time really well. The only thing maybe I'd work on is content, so practice reading and listening.
Yes, improve my content. make it a little bit larger, I think.
Yeah, so
Thank you. It may be easier, teacher, when the student agrees with the idea of changing, making some, instead of be against of the idea. But it's
yeah,
great that I'm practicing these exercises, disagreeing ideas, or just.
so yes, it's good to practice. And yeah, in a way, it is easier because when the student agrees, it's basically the same reasons as the reading, right? It's just the same, but a little bit more explained. So yes, it can be easier in that way. But it also is you when the student disagrees, because it's the exact opposite of what you have in the reading. Okay, now let's practice question 3 of the speaking section. Do you have the template in here for question 3?
Let me check. Let me find it, please. With the introduction, subtopic 1 with the example, and subtopic 2 with the second example. Is that
No,
one?
that's question 4.
All right.
Question 4 is the one where you have 2 subtopics.
Could I see it, please?
Yeah, for sure. I'll show you the template.
I think I lost. Okay, here it is. Oh, this is the one where I have to know the title.
Yes.
Right?
This is the one where you have to copy the title and search for the definition in the reading. And then just hear the example that you have in the list. So this is the template.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so likewise, you will have 45 seconds to read the text.
What teacher can we start once again, please?
Okay.
I didn't realize the time was running.
All right, we're back.
Thank you.
Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a business management class. Okay, so we've been talking about starting a business. Let's say I want to open up a pizza restaurant. Well, I know how tough it is to make a new business succeed, and I want a sure thing. So I contact a big company that owns a chain of pizza places. Let's say it's called Pizza Town, and I pay for the rights to call my restaurant Pizza Town and to sell Pizza Town's special one-of-a-kind pizza. Now, since everyone's heard of Pizza Town, it's really popular, I don't have to worry about whether people will want to eat my pizza or not. I already know this pizza will sell well because it's a known thing, and that means that there's a better chance my business will succeed. Now, in exchange for being able to call my restaurant Pizza Town, I have to agree to run the business the Pizza Town way, and Pizza Town trains me to do this. They show me how to do everything, how to make my pizzas taste like Pizza Town pizzas, how to advertise, even how to make my store look like a Pizza Town. Now, this means that I don't have a lot of freedom or choice in the way I run my business. But in a lot of ways, this is great for me. After all, Pizza Town's way generally works. They sell a lot of pizza.
Okay. Using the example given by the professor, explain how franchising works. You now have 30 seconds to prepare your response. Okay, so please, you can start speaking now.
Okay, teacher. According to the passage, franchising occurs when someone wants to open a company, run a business which already exists, but in another location, for example, in another country. In the lecture, the professor gives the example of a Pizza Town, a restaurant of food restaurant, pizza specifically, and he explains here that a Pizza Town as a franchise can be a good business because they can sell very well and have great incomes for their pizza because it's a well-known brand, and the branding and all the stuff they have, it's already it's already famous.
All right, good. So great, but I think, to be honest, that you are talking a little bit more, rather than basing your response on the text and on the listen. For example, in the introduction, your definition is correct. It's basically what franchising is, but you're not really using the definition from the reading. You have to search for the definition of franchising according to the reading and use that. You said franchising is opening a business that already exists in a maybe different place, in a different country. That's okay, but according to the text, it says franchising is when you want to open a store and you pay an established company for the rights to use the company's name and sell the company's products. Right, so this is what you should have mentioned in your introduction. And then the part of the listening was fine, but there were a lot of missing details. So the most important information for the listening, what you were saying, what are the advantages of franchising? You can sell a lot of pizza because you already have an established customer base. And the disadvantages that you don't have much control over your company. You have to follow the rules and the instructions of the original company. So careful there. The introduction with the definition and maybe a little bit more details from the listening as well.
Yes, I didn't write down the definition of franchising, and I forgot that the one who wants to open a store with the name of the company have to pay an installation. And have to pay the right to use that name. Okay.
And now let's do question 4. And you have the template, right? You were telling me the 2 subtopics, 2 examples of question 4, the last one we did.
Yes, I have the template of number 4 with 2 subtopics.
Exactly that. 2 subtopics, 2 examples.
And teacher, in the TOEFL test, at the time of taking this test, we will have to develop the 4 tasks of the speaking section, right?
Yes, the 4 of them, and they are right after each other. So you get question 1, 2, 3, and 4 all at once.
Okay.
All right. So let's now work on this question. Remember, in this case, you will just be listening to a lecture. It's an academic lecture. And in this lecture, the topic will always be broken down into 2 different subtopics, each subtopic containing its own example. Let's see.
Now listen to part of a talk in an economics class.
So, let's talk about money. What is money? Well, typically people think of coins and paper bills as money, but that's using a somewhat narrow definition of the term. A broad definition is this: money is anything that people can use to make purchases with. Since many things can be used to make purchases, money can have many different forms. Certainly, coins and bills are one form of money. People exchange goods and services for coins or paper bills, and they use this money, these bills, to obtain other goods and services. For example, you might give a taxi driver $5 to purchase a ride in his taxi, and he in turn gives the $5 to a farmer to buy some vegetables. But as I said, coins and bills aren't the only form of money under this broad definition. Some societies make use of a barter system. Basically, in a barter system, people exchange goods and services directly for other goods and services. The taxi driver, for example, might give a ride to a farmer in exchange for some vegetables. Since the vegetables are used to pay for a service, by our broad definition, the vegetables are used in barter as a form of money. Now, as I mentioned, there's also a second, a narrower definition of money. In the United States, only coins and bills are legal tender, meaning that by law, a seller must accept them as payment. The taxi driver must accept coins or bills as payment for a taxi ride, okay? But in the U.S., the taxi driver is not required to accept vegetables in exchange for a ride. So a narrower definition of money might be whatever is legal tender in a society, whatever has to be accepted as payment.
Now, using points and examples from the talk, explain the 2 definitions of money presented by the professor. Now you will have 20 seconds. Prepare your response. Okay. So please, you may start speaking now.
Okay. Money. Sorry, teacher. What was the template? I don't know if I have the template. I have the points in order to speak by, but
This was a template. You needed to start by saying the lecture discusses, then read what you have in the question, right? Two definitions of money. First, the
okay.
professor talks about the first topic, first definition, mention what it is, talk about the example. Then the same for the second.
Yes, I didn't have the okay.
Okay, good. So let's go back here, please. You may start speaking now.
Okay, the lecture discusses about two major factors: money. First, the professor talks about that money can be anything people use to purchase goods and services. For instance, people, he explained that people can take a taxi and he paid the taxi driver the count, and then he explains
Okay.
something about further.
You're speaking. You have to make sure that you are able to do it fast.
Yeah.
First of all, as for your introduction, the lecture discusses, don't say about. The word discuss doesn't need a preposition. So the lecture discusses, and then use what you have in the question. Use the two major factors of money. But it wasn't about factors of money, it was two definitions of money. The lecture discusses two definitions of money. Now, to be honest, the information for the first topic was great. You had the correct definition. Money is anything we can use to purchase goods and services. And you are going good with the example, right? You can pay a taxi driver with vegetables, you can pay them for their service with money. Maybe what you're missing is to catch the name of this topic, because that definition had a name that was called. Do you remember what the name of the definition is?
No, I didn't.
That was the general definition. We have the general or the broad definition is called, and the narrow definition. The broad definition is everything that you can use to interchange for goods and services. And the narrow definition, do you remember what it was? What was the other subtopic?
Maybe exchange communities where people exchange goods and services by other goods and services?
No.
Or is that
Right? The broad definition is basically money is, as you said, anything you can use to purchase things. Now, the narrow definition says money is only going to be what is considered as the legal tender in your country. So something that's legal, something that people are required to accept as a form of payment. So for example, in the taxi driver example, he's not supposed or he's not obliged to accept vegetables as a form of payment. He can only accept coins and bills according to the US currency. So that would be money, right? Under the narrow definition, money is the legal tender of the legal tender, whatever is legal to accept. But under the broad definition, money is anything that you can use to pay for goods and services.
Okay.
So careful with the information, practice listening. Listening and reading are important skills, even for the speaking and the writing sections. Remember that in the writing, you will have to read and listen too. Practice reading, practice listening, and also practice summarizing information and speaking so that you can speak a little bit faster. You speak really well, you have good grammar, good pronunciation, but it is taking you some time to explain the idea. So you maybe have to summarize them more or speak a little faster.
Yes. This one was a little bit confusing to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we going to practice also tomorrow?
Yes, we have one more class tomorrow, and what we were saying yesterday. You were in yesterday's class, right?
No, teacher, I have university classes on Mondays and Wednesdays at 9, and yesterday's class, well, I had to present an explanation.
Okay, don't worry about it. No.
Exposition.
A
Is that
presentation.
said?
Presentation.
A presentation. And yes, I had to go to the university to presential class.
Okay. Well, don't worry about it. Either way, every single class is supposed to be in the YouTube channel, so you can always catch up. So what we were saying yesterday is that we are finishing this course on Friday. Friday is going to be our last class. That means tomorrow is going to be our last class. And what we have for today was this, practicing speaking. And tomorrow, it's completely up to you. I was telling you, I was suggesting that we could practice speaking today. And if we need to continue practicing, we can do it tomorrow. So maybe tomorrow we can continue practicing speaking so that we can master a few things, practice a little bit more, if you agree. And if not, we can practice another section as well. Maybe you want to practice writing or listening, reading, we can do that.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you want to do? What would you prefer?
I would like to still practicing with this speaking section. First of all, before anything.
All right. So yes, we can continue practicing speaking then, and that way we're going to be better.
Maybe if it's possible, practice one listening more would be, it would be a great idea. If it's
Okay, yeah,
possible.
sure. Yeah, I think we have enough time. We can do at least one of each question of the speaking, and then we can do some listening. Yeah.
Perfect, teacher. Why nobody came today to the class? Something yesterday I lost.
I mean, yesterday there were a few people. I think it was Mateo, Fernando, and Nasser that were here yesterday.
Okay.
Well, we actually talked about it today, but I don't know why it didn't show up. Usually Fridays, students don't usually join classes on Fridays. But today's Thursday, I don't know why. Don't know really. Amazing.
Okay, teacher, hope tomorrow to be at least 3-4 students.
Yeah, I'll
My,
do.
my brother is going to assist tomorrow.
Okay. Hopefully. So yes, because it's our last class as well. So it's especially important if you have questions about the test, like before taking the test, questions about like the experience of taking the test or technical questions or maybe some final tips. You know, it's an important class.
Yes, and I think everybody is going to realize that. I think everybody is noticing that tomorrow is the last class. So
Yeah, because we talked about that yesterday. We were saying that Friday is our last class. So maybe because technically we have already finished the program, right? We have already finished the content. We have seen all of the sections by now, the theory of all of the sections, and we have practiced them as well. So maybe that's why they didn't show up. But practicing is also a very important part for the test, especially.
I think it's the best and probably unique way to improve.
Yeah, totally agree.
Practicing.
In speaking and writing, practicing, well, all of the sections, but yes.
Yes, mainly speaking. Yes, mainly speaking and talking fast and thinking faster, every time faster and faster, and try to disimular, no, not disimular, improvisar,
Trying to improvise, yeah.
improvise. Yeah, it requires only practice.
Exactly, yeah. I agree completely.
Perfect, teacher. So
You're
I'll see
welcome.
you tomorrow.
Yes, please don't forget that before you go to
Of
be
course.
your. And yes, I will see you tomorrow.
Right. Goodbye, teacher. Thank you.